Hey everyone. Today's Flipgrid on a Tuesday is a special Flipgrid, and it's one of a more serious nature. And I really wanted to have this Flipgrid today because I really care about you and what's happening in our world and our community. As you may or may not know, last week, Mr. George Floyd, who's my age, died in the hands of a police officer in Minnesota. What happened after that, you may have heard or read about or watched on the news, that there are a lot of angry people rioting and protesting all across the country, even in our state, which is almost 2,000 miles away from where it happened. Today's Flipgrid requires some thought, and it also I want to give you children a space to vent. And what venting means, kind of like when we did that activity where we crumbled our worries and we shot them away, venting sometimes allows the pressure to come off so that we can begin healing and to feel less pain and sorrow, anger. So I'd love for you to just vent, and if that's something that you need to do, great. I would be glad to hear what you have to say. The second thing I'd like you to do is I want you to think about ways in which things can change so that when you're adults in 8 or 9 years, that the world will be in a better place than it is now. People all across our beautiful nation, in Los Angeles, California, Minneapolis, Minnesota, New York City, they're hurting. They're hurting. And it's not just the African American community. But I want us to focus on that community because they're the ones that need our help the most right now. So what can we do to make this place better? To be less divided racially? That everyone that's an American or is in America has the opportunity to live without fear, to live in a place where we all truly have the freedom to improve and to pursue happiness. That's in the Constitution. That's part of our makeup as a country. What can we do? So, if you just want to vent with me, that's great. That's better than nothing, right? In some ways, it's very productive. If you just like to vent, and if you would like to expand on that and give us some ideas on ways to make the world a better place for those, especially in the African American community, I'd love to hear it. I'll share with you mine. I'm going to be more dedicated to share the stories and struggles of people that look different than Mr. Curtis does. Whether it's Latino or it's black or it's somebody from another country. I'm going to share that with my future students a little more often. We're going to have tougher discussions from time to time. That's what I'm going to do, among other things. What could you do to make this place better? Remember our talks in February about just because things are improving and they're better than they were in, let's say, 1969, doesn't mean it's good enough. We want to keep growing and getting better in all facets. And it comes from ideas. Ideas spark change. And then actions can impact change. There's a woman that lived way back in 1946 in Canada, our neighbors to the north. Her name was Viola Desmond, and she was fighting the Canadian government in Nova Scotia on racial separation and segregation. She lived a life of change. She started with an idea, and then she took that idea into action, and then things started to slowly change in Canada to the point where she is so honored to this day, over 65 years later, that they're going to put her on some money. Pretty impressive. It's almost too bad that she never really, that didn't happen during her lifetime. But that's a pretty prestigious honor. change can happen when people come up with ideas and then they put those to action. So again, would you just like to vent? Would you also like to come up with an idea or two and share them with me? And then at the end of your video, would you tell me whether or not you would like to share this with the class, or if you just want to keep it between you and I? I will honor that. And even if you just want to share it between you and I, there's a lot of honor in that. There's a lot of goodness in that. So I invite you guys, I hope all of you take me up on this challenge to come back. You have some time to think about it before you start speaking in your video. If you don't like the video that you made, you can edit and go back and redo it. I just want you to really think about how the world is changing, and we're in the middle of it right now. And what can we do? Because we all can do something about it. Again, just because things are better doesn't mean that that's good enough. I look forward to your flips. I'm honored and blessed to be your teacher. I'm excited to hear from you. Bye for now.